Pickle, let's go to the hotline, and let's bring in the head coach of the state semifinalist Crosby Cougars. We are joined by Coach Jerry Prieto. Coach, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Hey, absolutely. How are things in beautiful Crosby, Texas?
And they're going well right now. We've had a pretty wild run so far, and community and everybody is pretty hyped right now. So it's some fun times right now in Crosby.
So you're there in your second year there at Crosby. You guys go 6-5 in your first season there. Now into the state semifinals. I know one thing you were really interested in the offseason was, for this year was just getting a full year with the guys, getting a full year of consistency at the coaching staff. Do you feel like that is the biggest difference between maybe last year and this year?
It has made a huge difference. Unfortunately, with all the shutdowns, we didn't get the full one, but we did get quite a bit through our off season, and really kind of laid out the expectations and the foundations of what we wanted from our kids, and how we expected our seniors to step up and start leading the team. And so that had a huge impact on the success we're having this year. And then just our senior class has done a great job of leading these guys through, during these strange, crazy times. And our senior leaders did a great job of leading these kids through the summer when we couldn't meet with them a whole lot.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because it does seem to me, we talk a lot on this show when we talk about high school football about how important having veterans on your squad is, how important guys who have been there before, how important senior leadership is. And it seems like, you're talking about, from last year's squad, you guys did bring back 30 lettermen from last year's squad. You brought back 14 starters. A lot of these guys are seniors. As you guys have progressed through the playoffs, and especially as these games have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, have you seen that senior leadership step up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There wasn't more clear picture of it than last week. We're down 21-9 in the fourth quarter to Fort Bend Marshall, and there wasn't any doubt on our sideline that we were going to come back and win the game. Danique was done, really stepped up on the sideline. He didn't even really play in the third quarter and was banged up, but he's just going up and down the sideline and keeping everybody up and encouraging everybody. And then he stepped in the fourth quarter and made a ton of plays for us.
We're talking with Jerry Prieto, the head coach at Crosby here on Texas Football Today. You can involve the conversation, #TFToday. All right, Coach, I want to go back to some less fun times. Let's go back to October. And you guys are sitting there. You guys are coming off of a 33-point loss to Manville, and you're 0-2. And admittedly to George Ranch and to Manville, two 6A or a 6A team and a very good 5A Division I team. You guys you're 0-2. Was there ever any doubt that you were going to figure it out, or was it just these are the growing pains we have to go through?
Some of it was the growing pains. And after those first 2 weeks, we really went back to the drawing board and looked at just kind of everything that we had done. Coaching wise through those first 2 weeks, and we looked at everything that we needed to fix, and we went into the next week and were able to pull that one off against Montgomery, and then really took that bye week again to just totally re-examine everything, totally make sure that we were teaching the basics and the fundamentals correctly, and just to make sure our schemes were getting across to our kids, and if they weren't, then what's a better way to start teaching it? And so after that, it did help, and it helps playing those games early. Nobody ever wants to lose. We all hate losing. But sometimes it does, when you play those teams early, exposes some of your flaws that it's nice to have them exposed in week 2 and not week 12.
One guy who I know has been really important to your success this year is Reggie Branch, a guy that I know you guys move around a lot of different places, quarterback, some running back, receiver. He's all over the place. This is a guy who I know his versatility is so key for you. You're the guy who gets to see him every day in practice. What is it about Reggie Branch that sets him apart?
Yeah, he's just a selfless kid. Mm-hmm. He started quarterback for us predominantly all the regular season, except for one game where we held him out. And he was doing a great job. When we went to the playoffs and I called him in and I told him, I think we're going to put Danique at quarterback and we're going to start moving you around all over the place, running back, receiver, quarterback. And, at that point, he had 15 touchdown passes, only 2 interceptions. He's almost a 1,000-yard rusher. And the first thing was, Coach, I don't care where I play. I just want to win. And, when your best player or one of your best players is also, one of your best kids, it makes life a lot easier.
And then on the defensive side, Coach, it feels like your defense has really, at least lately, you guys go through this murderer's row there in Region 3 of beating Texas High and Huntsville and Fort Bend Marshall in consecutive weeks. And the numbers may not be necessarily, on balance very, pretty. But at the same time, it seemed like your defense has a real knack for the big play. Do you feel like your defense is starting to round into form and starting to gain some confidence?
Yeah, they definitely are. They definitely have a lot of confidence right now. And our defensive line has been playing really well all year, been really disruptive. And they've stepped up in some really big times for us. Last week, we had 3 stops inside the 10, I believe, in the first quarter, first half against Fort Bend Marshall. And, it really saved the game for us and kept the momentum kind of even as we went through the first half of that game.
You're there in your second year at Crosby. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the place you were there before that. Let's call you Midas Touch Jerry Prieto because you were the offensive coordinator there at Corpus Christi Veteran Memorial. I'm going to have to check my records, but it appears that they are also a state semifinalist this year.
Yes, sir, they sure are.
I imagine that you're still keeping up with the boys over there at Vets, and I'm interested in kind of your take on what they've been able to do this year.
Yeah, most definitely. Definitely been keeping up with them. Coach Semper and I go back a long ways. He's one of my best friends and learned a lot from him working for him. And those kids, that senior class, I got to first start working with them when they were 8th graders at Caffey Middle School. And we thought they had a chance if you could get some other pieces with them from some other classes to be a pretty solid class. But we were just fortunate to have a great staff while we were there, and they still have a great staff, and just building a culture of being a champion. And those kids, they walk out on the field and they expect to win no matter who they play.
Well, yeah, you and Coach Semper can both clinch playoffs, punch tickets to AT&T Stadium at the same time, both kicking off 7:30 Friday. You guys down there in Bryan at Green Stadium, where you will take on the Liberty Hill Panthers. Obviously, unique squad there in Liberty Hill. I don't want to ask you to give away your game plan here to God and everybody, but when you take a look at what you're up against tomorrow against Liberty Hill, what do you see?
Sorry, I lost you there for a little bit, but just a little bit about Liberty Hill. Yeah, man, I got to watch them in person last round when they took on Sharyland Pioneer, and just extremely impressed with their program. Their kids, man, they're tough kids. They play extremely hard, and I don't know if I've seen anybody execute an offensive scheme as well as they do. They got it down to an art form, and it's extremely difficult to prepare for. But at the end of the day, too, I think the strength of our defense has been our front seven. And obviously the strength of their offense is their running game. So we'll see what happens Friday night.
So if you were to identify maybe one key for you guys, if you guys are going to win this game tomorrow, what's if I were to say, if we do X, then we're going to have a good night?
Yeah, I think if we're just fundamentally sound with our keys and our techniques defensively, then I think that's going to give us a good chance to be successful.
Well, you've already been successful thus far. It's Jerry Prieto, the head coach of the state semifinalist Crosby Cougars. 7:30 p.m. Friday in Bryan as they take on Liberty Hill for a spot in the 5A Division II state championship game. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on such a fantastic year so far, and go get them tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me again.